It is common knowledge that CME futures were introduced on the XRP ledger not too long ago. I ran the numbers, and I'm going to give you guys all of the hard cold facts in today's video to show you guys just how incredible this truly is. It got me incredibly excited about the future of XRP and the potential futures contracts, as well as what this means for institutional adoption. However, what a lot of you probably didn't know is the exact effect, the total amount of volume that it's generated, and what this means for the future of XRP. Well, I ran the numbers, and then I'm going to show you guys all of the hard cold facts. When you guys see some of the data that I'm going to share with you in this video, I'm going to guess that you guys are going to feel quite similar to what I believe. Now all I need from you all is for you to click the like button. Let's discuss about continuing medical education and what this means if everyone is aware of it. In the event that you are unfamiliar with the acronym CME, it stands for the Chicago Mercantile Exchange Group, which is now the most prominent entity in the world of derivatives trading. You might be wondering why this is significant in relation to XRP. On the 19th of May, they introduced XRP futures and micro XRP futures on their respective exchanges. Institutional investors were given the opportunity to obtain exposure to XRP, which is widely acknowledged to be an excellent cryptocurrency, through the use of regulated mechanisms. This change, which was clearly a rather significant development, is a clear indication that there is a rising interest in XRP among both retail and institutional investors. This is something that I discussed on my YouTube channel when it was first introduced, but since it has been introduced, I have obtained a great deal of fresh information regarding the sort of volume, the manner in which these institutions are really utilizing it, and what this may possibly imply for the future of XRP. However, before I get into that, I would want to briefly discuss some of the tools and analytics that we have access to. In a nutshell, they offer pricing and analysis tools that may assist in the development and improvement of XRP trading strategies. They have report data that provides insights into market positions, both long and short, as well as their progression. This is extremely valuable for those who are interested in trading and just want to look at things like the number of longs and shorts that are now open on the market. In addition to that, they provide historical price data as well as a platform for rural strategy analytics. In light of the aforementioned, why is this such a significant event for XRP? It is possible that you are aware of the fact that Solana derivatives have been operational for a considerable amount of time. In light of this, I believe that the very first thing that we naturally want to do is to compare the XRP derivatives to the Solana derivatives. For example, we want to compare the volume statistics and see which one is driving more. For the simple reason that if Solana is significantly outperforming XRP, it demonstrates that there is a greater demand for Solana among institutions. However, when I looked at the figures, I noticed something that turned out to be entirely different, which is something that we are going to discuss in just a moment here. To begin, I would like to bring to your attention the fact that the micro XRP futures constitute a significant portion of the resources that these institutions are using. Because of this, institutions are able to fine-tune their exposure without over-leveraging, which enables accurate risk management for portfolios that are already very modest. In addition, this is the source of a significant portion of the real volume that we are observing emerging. Now, if we scroll down this page, we can see that the trade volume was actually fairly large. This is something that we can recognize, despite the fact that there is a lack of accurate statistics on their direct influence on the XRP ledger. The following is a summary of the trade volumes that have been recorded. During the first day of trading, which took place on May 18 and 19, the notional volume reached over $19 million, and Hidden Road was the one who cleared a blog deal. This is something that you can observe. The normal XRP futures traded at 50,000 XRP per contract, as well as the micro XRP futures traded at 2,500 XRP per contract, were included in the specific breakdowns are around 4 normal contracts, 480,000 contracts valued at 2035 XRP, and 106 micro contracts valued at nearly 1 million. As of the second day, the trade volume was claimed to have surpassed 10 million in notional value, but some reports say that it dropped to about 7 million value. And in the days that followed, we were able to see reports that were referred to as single day volume, which was roughly 2.4 million with 9 standard contracts, 1 million at 2035 XRP transacted, and the micro contact volumes were not completely documented or available. Nevertheless, that in and of itself is quite excellent, in particular when we contrast it with a few other cryptocurrencies that are currently available. It is clear that the 19 million first day volume and subsequent trading activities indicate a rise rise in institutional interest, which in turn contributes to an increase in the total market liquidity for XRP. Through the utilization of volatility, the price of XRP may be stabilized by the increased liquidity on regulated platforms such as CME. Bitcoin has already demonstrated this phenomenon. When these kinds of futures contracts were first introduced a while ago, it had a significant impact on the stability of Bitcoin. In addition, the debut of the exchange-traded funds, ETFs, for Bitcoin resulted in a significant increase in the overall number of transactions, which is something that has never happened before. We can see that the CME's futures are settled based on the CME CFXRP dollar reference rate, which is a clear benchmark. This increases price discovery, which in turn aligns the market price of XRP with the activities of institutions. In addition, remarks on X showed that the robust launch volumes fostered confidence over the price of XRP, with some users speculating about the possibility of additional ETF approvals. The next stage is definitely going to be that institutions that are participating in futures contracts on the CME. That is wonderful, but in your opinion, the approvals for ETFs are far greater. It is the initial step in a series of steps. Consequently, it is clearly very exciting to observe this. As a result, it was only reasonable for me to inquire about other cryptocurrency futures and the relative performance of them. We can observe that the average number of contracts traded in Bitcoin futures each day was 98,000, which corresponds to around 11.3 billion in notional value, as well as open interest of around 251,000 contracts, which is 21.8 billion, representing an increase of 83%. When the CME CF Ether dollar reference rate was used to settle the contract, we can observe that Ether was likewise around 50 ETH per contract. Furthermore, it is evident that the micro Ether was around 0.1 ETH per contract. In addition, the trading volume of Ether made a major contribution to CME, which was 11.3 billion in the first quarter of 2025, which was spread out across 3 months. That is very impressive. However, if you take into consideration that XRP has an average of around 19 million over 10 million each day, and then you average it out over the course of an entire quarter, you will see that we are competing with other cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum. Oh my goodness, it is really ridiculous. I am aware that a significant number of you are undoubtedly quite interested in Solana, which is yet another cryptocurrency. For example, how does XRP stack up against Solana? Because of this, it is clear that the notional volume of Solana futures has reached 705 million since the inception of the product. This is a big decrease from the 19 million that XRP had on its first day of trading. On the other hand, Solana is a lot less expensive than XRP. Although the particular daily volumes are not specified, it is known that there is a significant amount of institutional interest in Solana's futures due to the fact that Solana is developing into a high-performance blockchain. The interest in Solana is, without a doubt, present, but the interest in XRP is far larger, and I believe that a good number of you ought to be enthusiastic about this. I mean, despite the fact that Ethereum is much larger in terms of market capitalization, XRP is competing with it, and it's all far outpacing even Solana. That is absolutely phenomenal news, and this is something that I think should get you guys very excited if we're going to be getting billions upon billions of dollars of volume, similar to Ethereum in our first quarter on the CME contract here. That is going to certainly promote broad acceptance for XRP, and it is also going to assist with pricing, price stability, which is something that I am, of course, incredibly thrilled about. At the moment, obviously, XRP has dropped approximately 20 cents, but the rest of the cryptocurrency market has also seen a decline. The remaining portion of the cryptocurrency market has experienced a significant decline. Midway through the month of May, the price of XRP was around 2.35 per coin, and it is currently trading at 2.1. Now, in the near term, I do believe that it is very feasible